Hi, I'm Rich, and I'm the Cisco Collaboration Lead of Ingram Micro, and I just wanted to have a video here for everyone to get up to speed on the new Cube licensing, as we've all probably seen if we've quoted out a voice router. So, as everybody's probably saw, they're now smart licensing for Cube licenses. This seems to be a very large push for Cisco. It's a matter of fact that I see there's a very short time window on when this license is still going to be, the old license will still be around. So, first things first, just like SRST, how SRST used to be, you'd purchase different levels of them, like the 5 packs, 10 packs, and so on and so forth. And then they moved over to the smart licensing where it was a 1-to-1 ratio. Same with this. You just purchase the amount of licensing that you need for the cubes that they're purchasing. So, in that way, it's really nice that they're only having to purchase what they need. Also, if they get a new router, because it's smart licensing, the cube licenses then follow to the new router. So, that's super cool. Um, just like the other one, like I was saying before, it takes all this mess and converts it into that. So less SKUs to remember. But there are more SKUs because we're just used to cube or cube red. Now we got cube T, cube L, and cube NP. As we've heard from Dave O, there are the differences. He spelled them out very well. I just wanted to have one of his resources that he showed me is the video on how to do the quotes and more in depth how these licenses are used. Just real quick, the T is going to be the replacement to what we're used to right now. So the cube T, that's what we're looking at. The cube L, that's going to be that's an odd one. That is where you have a phone at your house and it's going to connect to the SIP provider and then from the SIP provider back to your CUCM. So there's a little bit of transversal there. I posted the question, does that then negate the need for expressway for then registered audio devices? I'm hoping to get an answer from that soon. If I will, I'll just simply post that in the room and everybody be up to date. So with all this new stuff, Cisco is pushing this to go away quickly. So here is the timeline. So it looks like they're going to be removing the classic cube from the ISR and the ASR routers around mid to late March. I have yet to see an end of sale on it, but this here clearly says that it's going end of sale. So I need everybody to start quoting all the smart licensing, smart cubes immediately. So whenever there's a need for it, or you know of anything that you've may have done in the past, just know that we need to start doing these ones now. So with all this in mind, here is the video. It's from Technology or Die, the artist, and here we go. Enjoy.
And check out the SKUs. And as we go through that, I'll talk about the actual functionality as well.
To best explain the new unified communications licensing model for Cube, I figured why not configure a unified communications oriented router. In this case, I have a C1 4331 system here that I am configuring. As you can see, I've selected the unified communications option under iOS feature licenses. Up to that point, that's probably what you would expect to see. But then I have my options broken out on the right-hand side here. As you can see, there's CME, SRST, stuff we're used to seeing, and then there's the Cube option, and there's also a Classic Cube option. Now, Classic Cube is the way that you've ordered licenses in the past. These are just blanket licenses, and they come in either 5s, 25s, or 100 packs. In the new model, you'll notice that we actually get to key in the quantity, and the price is per license. Now, we need to understand what each of these licenses does, and I will actually step you through that right now. So first of all, Cube-T you can think of as cube trunking. or a trunk license. This is one trunk session license, and this is what you would use when interfacing with a service provider, right? Perhaps you have a service provider who has offered you a SIP trunk of 100 active calls. You would get 100 active sessions in this cube license. So cube-t-standard, basically. Type in your quantity, and away you go. You'll notice that the price here is actually also substantially decreased. It's $95 per session, whereas in the old model, if we look at the 5 count, it's $750. So if you do the math, you do save a good chunk of money in that alone. So jumping back to the cube options, if you say, hey, I need double box redundancy, right? So if you're buying 2 platforms, you can actually use the cube-t red license, which is the redundant license. In this case, it's the same thing. Type in your quantity and away you go. Now, because it's redundant, you're using 2 boxes. The price is a little bit more. Again, this is list price, but you already expected that, right? Now, the next licenses are where things get a little bit more complicated. The cube-l-red and cube-l-standard are the line side licenses. Now, as you can see on screen here, I have a diagram of when you would use this. This is kind of, a little bit of a reverse of what you're used to seeing, and that is that typically, a service provider is offering us a SIP trunk. We have a PBX on-premise, a Cisco Unified Communications Manager or otherwise, and our phones are directly registered to the Unified Communications Manager or the on-premise PBX. In this case, the line side or line session license is actually going to allow the phones to register through the cube out to the cloud service. And again, you can see that in the diagram here. So the intelligence is in the cloud. You just need a secure gateway to get those devices from your premise to the cloud. So that is what these licenses are for. And you can do, again, these both in a redundant fashion or an individual fashion, as you may be familiar with from the past. Last but not least, we have the Cube Media Proxy license, and this is redundant by default. This license, as you can see in the diagram on screen, this is for a new feature that essentially allows Cube to be used as a media proxy. And what this is for is if you have multiple recording points. So currently, Cube network-based recording only allows you to fork the call to a single recording service. In this instance, you would, or in the diagram here, you would actually fork the call at the gateway, add a device that's licensed with the Cube-T licenses. You would fork that both to the endpoint and obviously to the Cube media proxy, and then the media proxy can break that out into multiple recording services. Now, it's worth mentioning, you do have to have a separate box for this because it is process intensive. But yeah, there you can see it in the diagram. That is what this license is for. Now, you would be, again, using a box that is dedicated to this. And likewise, you would be licensing, per session. So if your trunk gateway services, 5,000 calls, but there's only, 250 of those that actually, recording applies to, you can license your media proxy device appropriately. So anyway, I hope that's been a helpful introduction to the new licensing model. As I get some additional information, I'm going to try and add it to the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to come back for future updates. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.